Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good
Good
morning.
We're learning Mishna Nedarim, Perek Vav, Chapter 6, Mishnah Ches, Mishnah 8. Hanoidim and Atamarim. A person makes a neder, forbidding himself to have dates. Mutar b'devash tamarim. You're allowed to have date honey. When you say dates, you mean the date. Not the product of the date, you mean the date itself. And therefore, even though you made a neder from the dates themselves, nonetheless, the date honey you may partake from. Now, misisvaniyos. Let's say you made your neder, prohibiting yourself from eating or from benefiting from sisvaniyos, which they translate as winter grapes. Now, that means winter grapes are inferior grapes that remain on the vine until the winter. They were not pressed into wine, but were commonly used to make vinegar. Mm-hmm. So your neder was from sisvaniyos, which means the grapes themselves. Mutar b'chaimet sisvaniyos. You'd be permitted to partake from the vinegar of the sisvaniyos, because when you say winter grapes, you mean the winter grapes themselves. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Omer. Yehuda ben Beseira argued, and he said like this: Kol sheshem toiladatoy kruya alav, v'noida hemenu, aser af b'yetze hemenu. According to Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, we say like this: any fruit whose product carries the name of the source fruit, when that happens, and you made a neder from the fruit, even what comes out of it will be forbidden. Meaning, what he needs to say is like this. He argues and he says that since date honey is not just called honey, it's called date honey. Mm-hmm. The vinegar made from the winter grapes is not called just vinegar, it's called winter grapes honey. Winter grapes vinegar. Not like Winter Street.
Still sour or something.
Whatever it is. Mm-hmm. The point is that being that the product carries the name of the fruit itself with it, Yehuda ben Beseira says that when in your neder you express the fruit, you will not just be including the fruit, but the product of the fruit that carries the name of the fruit with it. That's what he says. According to the first opinion, when you say the fruit, you mean the fruit and not any product from the fruit. According to Yehuda ben Beseira, if you say a fruit, then you include the fruit and any product of the fruit that carries the name of the fruit with it. And therefore, in these two cases mentioned before, your neder was from the fruit, but it's going to forbid you on the honey and from the vinegar because they both carry the name of the fruit with it. The chachamim atirim, and the chachamim permit, which means the chachamim argue with Yehuda ben Beseira, and they say not like him. They say that it's not that when you go ahead and you, even though the product carries the name of the source fruit with it, nonetheless, that's not necessarily going to make everything forbidden. Now, whenever you have a situation like this in a Mishnah, where seemingly the first opinion and the third opinion are the same, right? The Tanakama, the first opinion said you're allowed to have the date honey. Yehuda ben Beseira says, no, you can't have the date honey, and the Chachamim permit. Sounds like the Chachamim are just saying the same thing as the Tanakama is the first opinion. And therefore, what's important to know is the following. That according to the Chachamim, let me try to explain it in the notes. The sages agree with the Tanakama in principle that a neder referring to a species of fruit prohibits only the fruit itself and not its juice. And therefore, practically speaking, when it comes to date honey, if you said date honey, the Chachamim agree with the Tanakama, the halacha will be the dates are forbidden, the honey is permissible. However, according to the sages, inedible fruit does not follow this rule. And these winter grapes are not edible. Since there is no point in prohibiting something that is inedible, the person who made the neder must have been referring not to the fruit itself, but to a product of the fruit that is edible. Thus, for example, a neder which made with reference to winter grapes, which are not eaten, prohibits only their vinegar. Meaning the Chachamim really, when they say permitted, when they say the word V'chachamim atim, the Chachamim permit, what they mean to say is that in essence, they are actually permitting the grapes the winter grapes. That's what they're permitting. They're saying in the case of winter grapes are not edible. And therefore, what's the point of the guy making a neder on them? It must be that when he makes a neder on the winter grapes, he means the edible part of the winter grapes, which is the vinegar, which comes out, according to the Chachamim, when you say winter grapes, the only thing you mean is the vinegar, not even the grapes themselves. So that comes out that that when you're dealing with the date honey, so the Tanakama and the Chachamim both agree. If the neder was on dates, date honey is not included. Rabbi Beseira says date honey is included. However, when it comes to the vinegar of the winter grapes, there we have a three-way argument. Tanakama says, yes, those winter grapes are not edible, but that's what he made his neder on. That's what the neder goes onto, and it doesn't include the vinegar. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it includes the vinegar because the vinegar is called winter grape vinegar. The source goes into is mentioned with the name of the product. The product is mentioned with the name of the source, and therefore it's included even in the neder pronounced about the product, about the source, meaning about the winter grapes. And the Chachamim say by winter grapes, the winter grapes themselves aren't even usher because of the neder, because of the fact that no one makes a neder on something that's inedible. There's no point. The only point was regarding what the edible part is, which is the vinegar. And then according to them, it's only the vinegar that's going to be forbidden because of the neder and not the winter grapes themselves. And the halacha is like, the Bartanura says, like the Chachamim. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, so...
Okay. What about